If you like this podcast, go to the Mr. Bean patron website and make a donation. The link will be in the description. I guess let's go ahead and get started, man. Let's talk about a little bit about your military background, kind of how Jiu-Jitsu come into play at your time in the military.
I joined the military back in '99. I went to college, played college football, all that. Didn't like the school, so I went to the military. I had 4 years of Army ROTC, so it was an easy transition going into the military. When I got there, I ended up coming here, actually. Born and raised in Texas, and ended up coming to Lawton, Oklahoma, to Fort Sill, doing basic. Left there and went to airborne school, and my first duty station was 2nd Ranger Battalion. So I went straight from Texas to here to Fort Lewis, Washington, to a Spec Ops unit. Got there. Within like a couple months, man, we were out in the quad, and that's just an area where we do PT. And there were some Brazilian guys there. And those guys happened to be the Gracie family. And that's when General Ferreter and, what's his name?
Matt Larson?
Yep, and Matt Larson.
Yeah, the godfather of combatives.
Yeah,
right?
he was over there at 2nd Ranger Battalion. They had just moved over to 3rd Bat, and they was building up the MACP program.
Wow, that would have been
That's like 99.
99, 2000, yeah.
Yep. I was a 2nd Bat when all that happened.
And it was the Rangers that led the way for changing
the whole hand to hand for the military. Because when I got in, that's when we was doing the fixed bayonet and we're stabbing.
Like the lineup drill?
Yeah.
Right.
There was no...
that's pre-combatives, right?
Oh, that's way pre-combatives.
That's still like World War II doctrine.
Yeah, we were still doing a lot of
trench fighting.
When did the combatives program start?
2000. 99, 2000.
Right.
That's Matt Larson and General Ferreter had left 2nd Ranger Battalion. They both went over to Bennett. And that's when they were still going around and gathering all the requirements that the Army needed.
Right.
But before the Army had got a hold of it, we were already training with the Gracies and within the regiment.
Okay.
And so I was getting it straight from the tap, basically. And from there, it just didn't stop. Yeah. We had a Ranger Rendezvous that next year. We had a big combatives tournament. And then that's kind of when the big Army adopted the Modern Army Combatives program. And from that point on, man, I was like, all right, I need more.
Yeah.
And so being stationed out in Washington State, Jiu-Jitsu was there as well. And Marcelo Alonso was out there. And that was, my first, instructor inside of schoolhouse was Marcelo Alonso out in Seattle. Man, and I just haven't stopped. So, I think I've been doing jiu-jitsu for over 24 years.
Right. How'd you like Washington out there?
Man, Washington was great. And being from Texas, I wouldn't have thought I would have liked it. It was green, but I'm an outdoors guy. So
Right. That's what I heard. If you like outdoors, you'll like it.
Yeah, I'm an outdoors guy, and so I scuba dive, I hunt. And they got elk out there. The water's nice. Black bear out there is nice.
I think it's 4th Battalion, 160s out there.
It's either 3rd Bat's out there. First group used to be out there. I know they got a 160 SOAR out there.
That's what I'm talking about, 160.
Yeah, they got 160 SOAR out there now. So now those are out there, but I don't want to get into all that stuff. But Washington State was great, man. It was a great place to be. So if you're in the military, you want a good post to go to, man. Washington State is nice. Oregon's right there. California's right there. Canada's right there. If you don't mind the mist,
right?
It's not because it's not a rain. It's not a southern rain, bro.
Okay.
We down here, this is rain. Up there, it's like a hot day at Six Flags, and they got the mist around.
Really?
Yeah. You don't get hard rain in Washington State. It's just it's not cold. It's just clammy and wet.
Yeah.
That's it. But the weather's great. Summertime is amazing.
Okay.
If you like scuba diving, summertime's amazing. But yeah, man. And then I just kept training from there. And then September 11th happened. And then a lot of the training kind of went sideways.
Yeah.
It was just back-to-back deployment. But even while I was on deployments, when I was still doing jiu-jitsu, they had clamshells And the guys that was, because at that time, and the UFC was getting bigger.
Right.
You know, everybody was trying to figure out what jiu-jitsu was. It was spreading. And so we were like, all right, well, shit, man, this is fun to us. You know, plus we get to use this in real life. A lot of people don't, you know, really get to use jiu-jitsu outside of the academy. Every time we went on deployments, man, somebody was having to use jiu-jitsu to either save their lives or to prevent using a weapon.
Right.
So even on deployments, man, we stayed consistent with training and teaching each other just off of what we had. There was no YouTube back then. There was nobody was sharing it like it was. So it just, most of the stuff we figured out on our own.
Right.
How do you think, like with technology, how do you think that affected jiu-jitsu?
The only way it affects jiu-jitsu is when the inexperienced try and come in and use it.
Right.
And they don't have all the details.
Okay.
The basics. And you can even have the basics down. But what you don't always get from watching a YouTube video is you don't feel the pressure.
Right.
You don't feel the little intricate details that somebody might say, hey, well, you did this, but I didn't feel that. You can't ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't feel how that person's doing it. Everybody's technique is different.
Right.
You know what I mean? His single leg might be the same as yours, but his connection and his pressure might feel different than yours.
Yeah. But it's still like a conversation starter though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so to me, I enjoy it when my guys go in there and watch it, because that lets me know that their processes are thinking, and they're trying to not only just get what they're getting from me in the classroom,
right.
They're going out and they're researching and they're looking. So that means they're hungry. You know, they're interested. Mm-hmm. If they go home and they ain't doing nothing and they come back the next day and they ain't even figured out the last thing we've been working on for a week, that person is just there sometimes. You know, it haven't gotten to them yet.
Yeah. You hear about like coaches that don't like you go and train with other people and stuff like that. I've never actually met anybody like that. I've always heard about people, but I can't put a name to a face. I've never met anybody like that. All the coaches I've always met, they're like, cool, man. Yeah, go train with them. You know, as long as you're getting better as an athlete, they appreciate it. You know,
it depends on. To me, it works twofold. I tell my guys, you can go, just make sure it's a safe environment for you.
Yeah.
Mm. You know, you gotta understand, like, you can inspire a lot of people, but you also can make a lot of haters too.
Yeah.
You know, you can do great things, but there can be some people on the sideline that don't like what you're doing.
Right.
You know, and so even though, yeah, you can go there, but just make sure, like, don't get hurt. You know, you go and you cross train sometimes. You don't know that person. You don't know what the intentions are. You don't know how fast they're going to go. You know, so it's more like I got to be prepared for anything, which is what you should be doing in training. But if I'm going over there to get some good rolls, it ain't a pissing contest. You know, we're not under contract. We're not going to get paid after this shit.
Right.
So
there's no prize money, right?
There's no prize.
Yeah.
You know, I'm coming just to roll, but always, you know, somebody might not like the flag you under. Somebody might not like the instructor you under. So go with caution.
Right.
You can go anywhere you want. I'm not in charge of anybody's funds or anybody's body. I tell my guys, just be careful, man. Choose where you go. Know where you're going.
Yeah. And just so for those who are listening or you know, listening live or whatever, so explain to people like what you do now. We talked about your military, but like what do you have going on now, and why you're so invested in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, now, man, I got so much going on, bro.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Like just this morning, I've been up since 4.
Yeah.
4, went to my academy, taught at 5.
And so that's what I wanted to get at. I don't know if we talked about it. You own a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu studio here in Lawton, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And you are a black belt under
Carlos Machado. Okay,
so for those who don't know, because I know a lot of the people that listen to this podcast, they're in different interests, different spaces. You got MMA, you got wrestling. Right. But what does that mean for Jiu-Jitsu when you say, you know, you're belting under a person?
For me, the person to me is irrelevant, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
Okay. Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, it does give you top cover because it's. I didn't get my jiu-jitsu from Carlos.
Okay.
So Carlos brought jiu-jitsu to Central, U.S.
Right.
Being in Texas. My jiu-jitsu came from the military,
right?
And that combatives program, and then watching, and then stepping out into these different schools. So that's where it kind of sparked.
Is that common in this area? For guys to
because we're like gypsies, The military, we're like gypsies, bro, and because why we might be here for 2 years,
right,
and then they're gonna PCS us somewhere else.
Fort Bragg,
and that's what I mean by you got to be careful about where you go train, because these guys might be under this Brazilian, and I go and leave this guy, and I come over and I'm like, hey, I used to train with Alonzo Marcelo, and they're like, fuck that guy, I don't like him.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, cause in Brazil you have that. You have that here. It's just like gangs.
Okay.
And so it's to me it's the jiu-jitsu that validates your jiu-jitsu, not the black belt that gave you your black belt or the person above him. It's just like wrestling. How solid is your wrestling? Your jiu-jitsu is going to speak for itself.
Got it.
Period.
Yeah.
What I look in for say affiliate, if I'm looking for that person I want to be under, this is a business. All right. One is first, it's a business. So I got to make sure that as a business first, I have somebody that's been in this business for a while that's going to help me grow my business. My jiu-jitsu is there. I don't need to grow my jiu-jitsu. I need to help grow my business so that the business can grow jiu-jitsu. See what I mean?
Right.
So I looked at who is the person that's out there that is doing it right.
Okay.
That is looking at jiu-jitsu for what it is, and then looking at jiu-jitsu as the business. What's the environment like? Who are you, being around? What are you accepting and not accepting? Because once you start working with kids, you got to think about it. What type of kid am I bringing in? Has this kid been abused? Has this kid been molested? Has this kid been bullied? This kid has anger issues. This kid playing too much video games. This kid out of shape. So now I'm not looking at this kid as like, I need to get you in jiu-jitsu. No, man, it's like, how can jiu-jitsu help you get better in whatever it is that you're coming in here for?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm trying to make like top-notch kids. No, man. How can I help this element of jiu-jitsu get you to where you are? So then that's what I needed to look for in my affiliate. Not the dude that's like, I just want fighters and I just want these guys. No, because parents ain't going to bring their kids into that. Unless that's the type of environment they're around. But ain't no parent out here trying to make their kids fucking goons. Ain't no parents out here trying to make their kids thugs.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
They're out here trying to make sure their kids can be protected. So I had to look for an affiliate that was more family oriented.
Okay.
Who was out there trying to accept who wanted to be a part of a family element, not just out here trying to fight the world.
Right.
See what I mean? And so that's what I looked for in an affiliate, because everybody can fight once you teach them. It's how can I use this now I don't have to fight. I know how to fight, but I want to use this to get me to all these other things. And I've used this now. I'm in Cameron. We have curriculum at Cameron University that the Cameron students, that they can just go learn self-defense, but it's jiu-jitsu. And I tell them the same thing, man. I'm not here to make you guys fighters. I'm here to give you confidence. And in a way, if you're stressed or you're angered or, you need to let some steam go, you can come choke your friend and, hey, guess what? You're not getting an assault charge.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I can come out here and get on the mats and exert myself and hey, I'm done. And so, and that's what I looked for, man. I didn't look for the guy that was just out there trying to build a bunch of just dudes to just go out and fight and women just to go out and fight. That's good and all, but I've already done that.
Yeah.
You know, our academy has gotten just about every accolade we could here in this area.
Okay.
And that's no cap, man. It's just my vision was first, I got to go out here and make a name for myself and then the academy. Yeah. And so I was really focused on just compete. And my wife was like, that's not it.
Yeah.
You're focusing on you so much, they're not getting any attention. So I started looking for that type of affiliate, man. Because that's what you need. With everything going on right now is how can we get these kids to start doing different stuff.
Right. So you just found an affiliation that aligned with your values.
That's it.
And that could promote what you said with the business of jiu-jitsu being the vehicle to engage people.
Because when you see, what the first thing somebody see when they say, hey, jiu-jitsu, they either going to say it's a karate or UFC. And there's no punching here right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? No, that's not. And I take that straight. No, we're not punching. We're not kicking. Is that a piece of it? Yeah, if you're looking to do A, B, and C. Can you do that? Yeah, that's fine. There's combat jiu-jitsu. You know, we do that in combatives. Right, we're always looking at striking. But what you don't want to do is go to that first.
So you're providing the base for somebody to understand martial arts and self-defense through jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is it's one of those things as far as listening to you and then just knowing some about you, you know, over the years, using it in a combat situation, right? And then now the owner of a successful academy in the area and providing opportunities and universities. How have you seen the change or the transition of like, okay, when you're talking about combat, when you're talking about war, that's the height of violence, right? And then now you're a few levels removed from that, right? With an air-conditioned room with mats or whatnot. And so how do you make that transition in your mind? So, okay, you know, it's situational dependent, right?
Met TC, yeah.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't know what that means. But
yeah.
It's situation dependent. At any point, you want to be able to use your jiu-jitsu at the lowest level possible.
Okay.
You know, I want to be able to use the minimal effectiveness I need to. But if I need to escalate it, I can escalate it at any point. My main thing is stand under control so I can control that situation. You know, I try to tell my guys all the time. You hear it. What they say? It's position then submission.
Right.
I call BS on that.
Okay.
I say that's
wow.
I call that totally wrong.
Okay.
And anybody can challenge me on it. But here's my response to that. Position then submission. You can be in any position you want. Do you control that position? Do you? Is that person still moving?
Right. Can
that person scramble? Is he pinned down? Position don't mean crap. You can be in position and that person can still get out. But if you control that position, and I got you isolated,
right?
And for in case straight jacket, if I put you in a straight jacket,
right,
you ain't getting out of it unless I let you out. Did I submit you? Nope. Did I have to strike you? Nope.
But you got control.
I got control, and you can't move.
Right.
And once I got you at a checkmate, and you can't move. Now, if this was a serious situation, I can say, look, man. At this point, I can do whatever I want to you.
Yeah. Because
you can't move. Then you finish. Now I can submit you.
So you're saying
position,
control,
then submission.
If you choose. That's powerful.
But that's correct.
Right.
Think about it.
I never thought of it like that. No. Because it's not taught that way.
It's not. That's how I'll teach you, though.
Right.
Just because you're there in mount, what does that dude on the bottom trying to do at that point?
Right.
Escape. He's trying to get out. Your job is to stay there, stop him, control him, then submit him. Because if there's no control, where's your submission? That's why I say challenge me on it. It's not position then submission. It's position, control, then submit.
So you're teaching once you engage and you're in control of the situation, you can adjust the level of violence.
Exactly.
That's how you want to deal with
Think
that.
about on our deployments.
Yep.
Shit's hit the fan. What we got to do? We got to gain control.
Right.
We got to get air superiority. We got to get control of the situation. Once we got control of the situation or the objective, guess what? Now we get to work. Man, I use that same mindset from the military. Like, we go into a situation, crap. What do we need to do quickly? We got to gain control.
Has your military experience given you a different perspective compared to, say, other jiu-jitsu instructors that you've met along the way?
Yeah, because not a lot of people kill people. What's the objective of jiu-jitsu? Self-defense.
Right.
I've been, not gloating, but what I'm saying, as being in that position, how many people have went out and like put bodies on the ground?
Right.
You know, and so it's different for me. I know what these kids are learning. I know what these adults are learning. They see, you know, all this, but what I see, if a kid holds that choke too long, that kid's dead. See what I mean?
Right.
So they got to learn control. Because why? They're angry. They're mad. There's a lot of blood pumping.
Right.
And if you can't control, why do you think they put us through those stress shoots? They keep us up all hours of the night on patrol. Because if you can't hack it, man, you got to go.
Yeah.
How well can you control a situation even when you're not under control?
Right. Yeah.
You got to, I tell my kids all the time, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
So I want to touch on that a little bit, right? Because you're talking about an experience that
most people don't get.
Not even just most people, but even military don't get, right? So how has your training and then participation in jiu-jitsu helped you? You know, if we can use the term PTSD or just like dealing with things, has it been beneficial? I'm assuming yes, but I don't want to ask.
Yeah, man. I got a newspaper article hanging up on my wall at the academy that speaks on it. You know, like a lot of guys that, and this is like military stuff, there's a lot of guys that are brought up and all they did was, that's it. Hey, your main objective is to go over there.
They got after it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's your objective. You know. Yeah. And when sitting in second Rangers time, when nobody's sitting there talking about, hey man, we're gonna pass out these flyers. We're gonna we ain't doing that. We're coming over there to send you to your maker. Right. You know, and so yeah, man, that put a lot of stress on you, especially as a kid coming out of college. You know, you're you know, it's different. You know, and so nobody was expecting 9/11 to happen. Most of us was like, all right, yeah, we're everything's fine, the world's great. Nobody was looking to ever have to go anywhere for a while, right?
Right.
Nope. And so now you're in it. So now you're in the shit. And you're there. And once stuff starts going, bro, I was at a point where I'm like, fucking, I'm already dead. Yeah. You know, I'm in Mosul in 2004. You know, and so I'm like, these dudes are shredding everything. EFPs are going off. They got IEDs everywhere. Man, we 2-hour firefights. Just dudes, just legs. It's just, you know. So it's things you see in movies, but now it's real life, and you're a part of it, and you make it out. So it's like, all right, I make it out. I'm home. What's my purpose? Right. What's my purpose? I can't do that here unless I want to spend the rest of my life in prison. You're right. Right. Yeah. You know. So what did I do to keep myself sane when I was not over there? Jiu-jitsu. Because why? It still gave me that killer instinct. Why? Because once I got behind you, I knew I could choke the life out of you. Right? So you know what you can do, and then you take that and you say, all right, now I'm not here. Now I'm back home. Yeah. But there's a lot of those same dangers here, you know, but they're not that intense. So now how do I dial it back? Okay. How do I dial it back? Because at first
it's like a pressure release valve, right?
Yeah. Like how do I take some of that off? You know, and when I got back, it was hard. You know, it was hard to just sit here and not be over there. And it's like more guys, I tell you right now, more guys that deployed downrange would rather be downrange than sitting back here in garrison.
Yes, I agree with that statement.
It's fact.
Yeah.
You know, because you're doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you get here, you're just training for it. It's the same thing. You know, we're training for jiu-jitsu to be like, all right, when am I going to get to use it?
Yeah.
So then you go do tournaments. But you still are not really using it. You're just...
It's a safe space to...
Yeah. You're sharpening your skills against other practitioners. And just because he might beat you, you got to think you're still on that same level, because that person that's not doing anything is not going to even compare to what you know.
Right.
And so how did I bring it back? Kids is how I brought my pressure down. Rolling with adults, all right, you already know everything you need to know.
Right.
You know, you can protect yourself. You can save yourself. You can run and go do something. Some of these kids don't have that skill base. Some of these kids are struggling just to be kids. You know, and so again, how do I use jiu-jitsu to give those kids the ability to feel the same thing I feel when I do jiu-jitsu?
Right.
That empowerment of like, I'm good. And that's my main chill. I focus more on my kids' program and not taking nothing away from the adults, man. I give them just as much, but I give those kids 150.
How long have you had an academy?
It'll be 10 years in January. In
that 10 years, what have you seen the difference in your kids' programs as far as, you know, when you started to where you're at now? Just maybe, I mean, 10 years, not big as far as a generational gap, but I'm sure there's some differences.
Well, I was kind of lucky because my son really helped test my patience. He's autistic, you know, and so he has trisomy 13, which is a very, very rare DNA disorder. So he has like an extra chromosome in his DNA strain.
Okay.
And so they really told us that he ain't even supposed to be alive, bro. He's 19. Okay. He was supposed to only live probably like, that's what they were saying, like 5, 4 maybe. But he doesn't have any muscular deficiency. He can't even pick up a stick pin with his fingers. You know, his motor skills are bad. And, you know, so as a parent, especially me, you know, this guy's jumping out of airplanes, scuba diver, doing all this other stuff.
You've used your body to the max.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, shit, you ain't gonna tell me my son can't do A, B, and C. Right. You know, you ain't gonna tell me my son's gonna be this way for the rest of his life. And so I used to sit there and I used to be hard on him. Like, nope, we're gonna prove him wrong. Just be hard and hard and hard. But that was the wrong way to do it, man. You know, and so I had the privilege of having him correct me, because he taught me then how to be able to deal with all these different types of kids, because he needed to be on a strict pattern. Like, hey man, we're going to the store tomorrow. All right, don't forget we're going to the store tomorrow. So it was a lot of reaffirming, you know, and then the things that he needed as a kid helped me figure out how to work with just kids in general. Me teaching him jujitsu when he couldn't physically like grab or grip or didn't understand because his sensories. He could touch a hot stove, bro, and didn't know it was hot.
Wow.
Yeah. This dude cracked his head open, was still sitting there eating a popsicle, bleeding out. And I'm like, this is scary. My son doesn't feel certain things like everybody else does. You know, those sensories were missing. So I had to teach him like, hey, that's too far. Don't let that go that way. You know, he can do a push-up, you know, and so it's the things I had to try and talk to him and teach him while I was teaching him jujitsu translated easier when it was me working with somebody else's kids that I felt like, oh, okay, that's the normal functioning kid. But he was normal functioning too. When you look at him, you would never tell unless he tried to like do something that was.
I see. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know? And so I'm like, man, how do I help him? Because I'm not going to always be here. How do I give him a tool to protect him? And so that's how I do it. Now I do that same thing with all the kids, you know, and so that's, I think him being disabled in a way helped me see more of what kids needed in order to grow. Parents, look, they might not think some things the same way as I do because they want their kid to you should know this. No, their brains aren't developed yet. Let that kid just be a kid. I'll help you out. You let me know what you want your kid to be able to do, and then you step out of the way and I'll give you updates. Right. You know what I mean? Why? Let the squad leader take charge, and I'll come back to you, to Sergeant, and I'll give you an update on your kid.
Yeah, I get it.
Don't bring their kid to me and then not let me do what I do. Yeah. If that's the case, no disrespect, you keep them at home. You know more than me already. But I'm not the one that says it, man. Go look at the post. Go talk to some of these parents. You know, they might not like some of my actions, or they might not like an outcome. But I guarantee you, they can't say I don't care for the kids. I don't get the job done. That's proven.
I think your academy speaks for itself, because I don't know if it's, I remember the older location off of Cash, or no, it was
Gore. It was Gore. That's the first. The first one's on Gore. I think I was at Gore in that location for probably about 7 months. Okay. And again, I focused on just the kids. I had some of the parents, but
so you're in your third one now, right?
No. Yes and no. Okay. So the first one, that one we outgrew that one within like the first 6-7 months. And so then I moved over where I'm at now. Right. But I had the back building where Brandon is. I see. Which is Unrivaled. And I had that one and their storefront. Well, COVID hit. And that really like set things back, bro. Because I had that building and the front building. So I had 2 buildings at that point. I was running my Jujitsu in this one, and I had a striking program that I wanted to do. So I said, all right, man, here, we'll do that over here. Yeah. And then COVID shut down everything. And then we opened back up. I didn't think it was I was at that point, I was like, well, we'll see. Did some stuff online, and then everything sparked back up. And then that's when I got the old locksmith building. Okay. But I had them both. I had that building and the building, again, I had those 2 buildings. Yeah. So I was running the kids class in the back building, and I would run the adult class at the same time in the front building. So it was easier because now the kids and the parents can come and train at the exact same time. And the best part about that was the parents weren't hovering over the kids.
But what I wanted to get at with that question is you've consistently improved your location. You've gotten bigger. You've expanded. So if there's a question about your success and your methods, you just got to look at the results, right? Yep. I didn't know about the Gore location there. I think
that's when I first got here. Okay, I first got
when
here.
When did you get over to the area?
I left Fort Bragg. Center of the universe. I didn't leave. I escaped. I escaped Fort Bragg.
Center of the universe.
And I came over here as a JFO instructor. Okay. For Fort Sill. So I was over there no, I didn't leave Fort Bragg. I left Alaska. Sorry. I was at Fort Richardson, Alaska. And I left in 2014. Got here 2014. Opened up January 2015. Yep.
When you was in Alaska, how was the jiu-jitsu like up there? Did you train while you was there?
I trained every day. I ran, and that was the best part. I ran the Army MACP program for all of USARAC while I was up in Alaska for the last 3 years before I left. Okay. So I was training every day. I was teaching classes every day. I was putting on combatives tournaments up there semi-annually. That's all I did. All I did. For almost 2.5 years was just jiu-jitsu every single day.
How many soldiers do you think you trained?
All of them. Oh. Every last one of them. Yeah. Every last one. And including, We even brought over Air Force guys.
Yeah.
Because it was joint base.
I could see that.
And we brought over the Air Force people and I trained them as well. I can't tell you how many. I've been training and teaching jiu-jitsu since combatives started in the military.
Right.
And so you got to think from 2000 to 2001 till when it started spreading, and that's when we just had level 1 and level 2.
Right, yeah.
You just get the shit beat out of you. I don't know how many times I got knocked out.
Yeah.
I mean, it back then it was like, hey, well, we got MACP, hey, what they're doing in UFC, we're doing the same stuff. I mean, we were literally just full out blows.
Yeah. I went through Matt Gallagher's program here in Fort Sill. It got scuffed up pretty good.
I mean, like, full out blows, man. I'm like,
yeah.
We would fight. It wasn't combatives. It was training camps. You were fighting.
Yeah.
And that's how it was until like people started getting jacked up and a lot of hazing stuff came out in the Army, and then they started getting it more modernized.
I think it's when more social media videos posted online, and then you had leadership being like, all right, we got to stop this. Or
like I've trained Marines before the Marines had their McMat program out in Fort Lewis.
It does, because even the Marines and the Air Force, all the services modeled after MACP.
Exactly.
Modern Army's combatives program.
And the only reason it wasn't Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was because of technicalities. The military couldn't adopt just one. You had to have sambo, you had to have wrestling, you had to have judo.
Yeah.
So
boxing, there's a big boxing influence in that.
We had to do all that. Man, I can't tell you how many. Man, it's I think 24 years of just teaching and doing jiu-jitsu. I've never not taught.
So that pathway just prepped you for when you got out.
Exactly.
To just start.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I credit the military, bro, for where I'm at right now. That's why I'm at Fort Sill right now, just doing those classes up there for free. I don't charge them guys. I'm up there trying to help Omran get his program up because I see what that program has done for me. But not just me. You look at a lot of the guys that got into MACP back then, what they're doing right now. A lot of those guys own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academies. A lot of those guys are high-level black belts. Yeah. Look at Colton Smith. Look at Dirk. Look at Dirk McComas. A lot of these guys, man, that's our generation of black belts and gym owners. That block from 98 to like 2005 of guys that was just coming into the MACP program that are out right now running successful high-level jiu-jitsu academies. That's credit to the Gracie family adopting it and the military adopting it and letting it come into our forces to where now look at the opportunities. Some soldiers, if they take these opportunities, what you can do when you get out. So like, the Army hosts local combatives tournaments. They did it a lot in the mid-aughts and like the 10s. It kind of died off, but Fort Sill used to have some great competitions out there. You had field artillery. Period. Yeah, and Oklahoma period has some solid grapplers, bro. Yeah, solid grapplers.
Well, it can't be denied that Oklahoma with the wrestling has influenced the grappling scene. I mean that's without saying. But how those grapplers are able to move through, you got guys that leave wrestling and they go into judo, they go into jiu-jitsu, they go into sambo, they go into MMA and they dominate. That's one of the jokes that I made coming into Oklahoma from Fort Bragg, thinking I had the golden ticket to grappling. And then run up against a wrestler. I ran up against in a combatives, not tournament, but just training, a guy that was all Army Greco wrestling, right? And just it felt like he was made out of wood. This is a guy that's been in the Army. All he did was wrestle his entire career. Oh, yeah. And then he retired, and who knows what he's doing now. But what I'm getting at, what's that? Probably teaching, right? Running a successful program somewhere. But what I'm getting at is coming to Oklahoma, I made the joke, you could swing a gi, and you're going to hit like 10 champions, 10 wrestling, state champions or something like that. And so if you train in Oklahoma, even if you don't learn how to wrestle, wrestling's going to happen to you. And you better have an answer for it, right? Which is great, yeah.
And that's what's great, man. These kids are starting at like 3.
Yeah.
Oh, men are savages.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at any of the school or club programs in the area and just see like the progression of how those things are.
But I also think because now Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really getting mainstream. And man, I've been really busting my ass here in this area to show Jiu-Jitsu in a different light.
Okay.
You know, and what I mean by that is there's different strokes for different folks. What's good about it is there's multiple places to train here, so you're able to get what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to make sure that stays what you're looking for is that place to where I can take this and I can put it anywhere. See that?
I see. Yeah.
I can't go and say I'm going to put an MMA program in your school. Because the first time your kid come home with a black eye, it's going to be bad news. You know, but I can say I'm going to put a program in your school that's not going to deal with any type of striking. That's not going to deal with any type of kicks. I'm going to teach that kid or those kids how to de-escalate a situation. But if it gets to the points where I got to escalate it, I'm going to be in, what's that word again? Control.
Control, yeah.
Control. If I got to, I'm going to take you down, get my position, control you. If I need to hold you there till a teacher or somebody comes, that's what I'm going to do. If you strike me, guess what? That's cool. I haven't struck you yet, but I'm going to show you that I can get you in control. And once I do that, I can do whatever I want to.
Yeah.
Because if there's and I hate to say this, if there's a zero tolerance on bullying, I should be still able to defend myself if I'm getting assaulted, right?
Right.
And if I can control that situation or that person, whatever out, throwing a punch or a kick, I should never get in trouble. Right?
No, yeah, I get it.
So that's what I'm trying to show. That's what I want. That's what I'm bringing to the table.
Right.
Does that kid know how to strike and punch? Of course that kid might know how. Why? Because we got schools and places that teach kids how to strike and punch. But what I'm trying to teach kids is you ain't got to fire off like that first.
So when you're talking about jiu-jitsu, and I've heard a lot about self-defense, have you noticed a difference in, I guess, the state of jiu-jitsu from when you've seen it being Gracie combatives, Army combatives program, self-defense, they're striking these things in it, to now with the popularity of the sport aspect of jiu-jitsu? Like, do you see them as two separate things, or are they kind of one and the same? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Both. Okay. They both complement each other.
Okay.
I'm not gonna pull guard in a street fight.
Right.
But if I fall down, I'm gonna pull your ass in guard. See? I'm not gonna come up to you and just sit on my butt while you still standing. Because why? The rules change.
Right.
You can kick me in my face.
Yeah.
At a tournament, you can't. But does that still apply once that fight goes to the ground? Yes. See that? Mm-hmm. So you might hit me or push me, and I'm on the ground. Well, as I'm getting up, I might trip you. And now you're on the ground. Well, now you're on your knees and you're climbing towards me. Well, now I'm gonna put you in guard. Now I can play that game.
Okay.
All right. And so now I'm looking for the strikes. If that person's striking, well, in and outs. You know, I'm looking to get my over-unders. I'm looking for that arm so I can catch it for my arm bar. Right. I still ain't do a strike, but if I wanted to, I just throw you forward and catch you with an elbow, or teach a kid how to just pull their knees in and have that person dump their head on the mat. You see what I'm saying? So they complement. It just depends on where in the event that I'm gonna use that. Right. You know, so you gotta explain, hey, don't do that in a street fight. If you get into a confrontation, you're not inside a building where you're training, don't sit on your butt. Man, you're gonna get kicked in the face.
Right. If you could, if you don't feel comfortable, I get it, but could you apply that same scenario to actual combat situation?
Hmm. We have, man. You know, so
what can you talk about? Elaborate a little bit.
So we had one incident where this wasn't like combat, but it was more of training. You go into a room and you're clearing the room, and say that first guy goes in, and the dude's right here, and as he's turning that corner to clear that corner, a guy grabs his barrel. or he takes that weapon away. He can't just start firing off rounds because where they're going. And the guys behind him can't start firing off rounds because why? Who's in front of him?
Right.
You know, so now I'm going to have to deal with this person. So what do? Trip him, take him down, get on top, and now you start working into your ground game because now I can't start firing off this round. Why? Because he grabbed my barrel. And that actually happened in a training scenario. And you take him down, and now it's one-on-one. The other guys can't just start popping off too because they might hit you. So now it's a one-on-one fight until they sling their shit to the side and they come over and help you. So your weapon jams. That shit happens. Right. We've had guys that's been on deployments that they went upstairs, to clear a room and weapon didn't fire. And now they're fighting dudes hand to hand. How do you do it? Think about, they use this all the time. Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that
the one scene where the dude's got him in mount. He's just sitting there with the knife. I'm yelling the whole time. Hey, bridge, bro. Bridge. I'm like, bump. Yeah. Roll to the side. Yeah. Because we now that we're trained and you're like, that's an untrained person that didn't know what to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now this dude's just in mount as he's just sitting here slowly spiking him in the chest, So, and that's just an easy bridge or an easy bump. It's things like that having knowledge
of I'm freaking out thinking about this scene right now because in combatives, one of the things we haven't talked about is, like the rule of three, right? If there's more of me than you, if there's more of us than you, then it's not a fair fight. And so you had that guy, you remember his buddy watching and just crying while this guy's getting stabbed? Right. Where in combatives now, you teach. I tell people, they teach you how, if you join the Army, you do combatives, you learn how to jump people properly, right? Because that's what the Army is about, right? It's about winning.
No fair fight, bro.
No, so yeah.
Indeed, but that's how Jiu-Jitsu helps. And that's what the military did. They took some of the really good pieces and aspects of jiu-jitsu and sambo and wrestling. You got to think we got a bunch of gear on. So some of these intricate moves we can't do. So we go to the foundational moves, the big moves, the big structural moves. Why? Because I got on a vest, I got a Mitch helmet, I got a rack on with rounds, I got medic pack, M9, the M4. So I'm like, man, how do I do all this stuff with all this gear on? Hey, put all that shit on. Let's go to work. Mm-hmm. Right. That's how you do it. You had to put all our gear on. You learn it without it, and then you slowly put stuff on, and you keep going. You put your vest on. Roll with the vest. Yeah. All right, put your Mitch on. Now you're rolling with your vest and your Mitch. Now, hey, grab your 9mm. Now you're fighting with that. Now grab your M4. Now you're fighting with that. So it's the same way, when we teach kids. Hey, the first thing you're going to learn is just how to run. Now high knees, butt kicks. Yeah. All right, now forward roll, backwards roll, break fall.
Just body movements.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Now that you know how your body is going to move, hey, let's put something on it. Here's some weight. Now try and do the same thing with that weight. Start conditioning your body. Now here's a helmet. Here's a weapon.
I feel like combatives in the military, I feel like it's, from my experience, it's one of the few things where I feel like sometimes in the military, you feel like it's just top down. You don't get a say of where it comes to. But I feel like in combatives, there's a good middle ground. For example, I did combatives 1 and 2, but my combatives instructors, they was already talking about changes that was going to happen with 2. They went pushing it up. So we was already getting the new version of the 2, like a year or so out before we even had to do that. And so I feel like combatives always been like that. And I feel like it's just because it's one of the things where there's no ego involved. You just want to win that scenario.
Mats don't lie.
And they don't. No. They don't.
Matt Larson talks about that. And I'm not going to quote him, but yeah, look it up.
And the thing is, the cool thing about jiu-jitsu and the reason why it keeps changing, because it evolves. Right. There's nothing against any other arts, but there's no set kata. It's not set. We get to bend the laws of jiu-jitsu when it comes to technique because everybody's body's different. That dude might be extremely flexible. He's going to be able to do some wild and crazy things. But guess what? At the end of the day, what is he getting back to? The fundamentals of armbar, triangle, omoplata, bent armbar, triangle choke, rear naked choke. They know all these submissions. They are the same.
Right.
There's no what new submission is it? Is it a new submission? Because if it is, let me know. It ain't.
Probably different setups.
They
and
might
entries.
know, and it's just that's it. It's a setup and entry, but the names are the same.
Yeah, now body types too. That plays a lot into it.
And exactly. So
we see it in the wrestling ring, right?
All the time. Yeah, man. We had a wrestler. He was Isaac Garrett. Man, shout out to Isaac Garrett. Man, he was a stud, but he was stuck to the basics, and he was able to do that because he was 6'4". You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was strong, and he was mean. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He won a state championship match in a double leg and a bar and a half. You know what I mean? The most basic fundamental wrestling.
It's just crazy. We're saying this right now. I had this exact same conversation last night with my student, or yesterday. Mm-hmm. I was like, every body type is different, but what's not going to change is the fundamentals.
Yeah.
When you get to that 5 foot person over there that's very flexible, he's going to be able to run around your body. Mm-hmm. That 6 foot guy over there, he's going to smash you to where you can't run around his body.
Yeah.
See that? Why? Because he knows the limitations of him or her. So what are they going to do? They're going to master that. And once they ain't got much to worry about. They got 10 to 20 techniques they need to master. That slender person that can do just about everything, he's got to worry about 1,000 techniques.
Yeah.
So while that one person is focusing on this small amount of techniques because that's what their body types allow them to do, they're going to master that. And while you're out here trying to learn all the other thousands of moves and not picking something that's strictly just for you, and I'm going to go dabble in this one. I'm going to go do this one. And I'm going to go do this one. Well, you just took yourself away from mastering that. And you took yourself, like my daughter, why do you think she's so good at arm bars? That's all I made her do. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, you can't attack anybody's legs right now. Yeah. So the only thing you need to worry about is their arms. That's it.
Yeah. And then you can progress, mm-hmm. right?
Now that you mastered the arms and how to do your arm bars and all that, now you can use that whenever you want. When you then progress and now your body can change and you can do this, now you can dabble in that. But what happens is they spend a little time here, don't master it. A little time here, don't master it. A little time here, don't master it. But the guy or the girl that can't do all them other techniques because their limitations won't let them, they get to master side control, they get to master mount, and all the basic fundamental techniques to where you're like, man, why does it work so good? Because that's the basics. That's always gonna work.
You could point to in wrestling, Jordan Burroughs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he knows all the moves in wrestling, but he's winning with what?
Blast double.
That's
one of the best in the
game. Fundamental wrestling.
He ain't out there doing no tricky stuff. Because he's doing the fundamentals.
Yeah.
They work. And how many times you think he's hit? How many times you think he's practiced that blast double?
Oh.
Millions.
I guarantee you he can close his eyes and hit that shit.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be when you're working on something. That you can close your eyes and do it and just feel. If it's something that if you're getting into it and you can't close your eyes and do it smoothly, and then you ain't there yet.
As an instructor, how long do you entertain that with a student until you're like, all right, brother, let's go ahead and dial it back a little bit? Or do you just let them go on that adventure until they figure it out themselves? Or is it a blend?
This is a blend.
Yeah.
I don't directly to my students unless they come and ask me. Because I don't want to be like, oh, he came and pointed me out in front of her. No, I say things in a broad statement so everybody understands it, everybody gets it, and they all see where I'm coming from. If I just come to you and say something, shit, that might help them. So I'm going to say it out broadly. If I see somebody making a mistake, I'm going to just say it out broadly.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, this is what I see, and then everybody gets it. Because now they see the whole picture. All right, that's where professor's coming from.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that one person. It's going to be a blanket statement for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting you to do. But at some point, yes, I'm going to let you go down that rabbit hole because why? Your body's different. You might feel or see something different. You might come up with like, hey, that works for me. Bet. that works for you. Well, let me help you clean it up a little bit.
Got it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
My job is to be able to, if you see something or find something out that works for your body, my job is to come over and help you complete it. Because my understanding of jiu-jitsu should be able to complete it. Why are you a professor if somebody's coming to you with an answer and you can't complete that answer?
Right.
I mean, you don't have a full understanding of the basics and the fundamentals yourself.
I guess that would be one of the downsides of the internet, social media, is kids looking for all the new highlight moves instead of just focusing on the basics.
And that's the thing. The new highlight move had to derive from somewhere.
Yeah.
The foundation.
So
Nobody came in with a jet engine and we were just going to space off of rockets. No, that shit didn't happen. They had to figure out how to fly first.
Yeah. I like to get on the internet and looking up stuff too, but I find it more interesting to find out new setups for a move.
There you go.
For a basic move. Like a duck under. Man, I think it's a great move. It wasn't something that I picked up that I was great at in high school, but I went down a few rabbit holes looking at setups on it. I'm like, man, that makes more sense than what I was trying to do. You know what I mean? So I think if you look at it that way, setups, I think can be beneficial. But the downside is everything's flashy now.
Well, and that's why I tell my students, I'm like, go out there, because when you're, and I told them, go look for people that's your build. Go look for people that you want to emulate, that you think that your body can copy.
Right.
Don't go out there looking at the Rotolo brothers if you weigh 250.
Man.
Right. See what I'm saying? Go out there, go watch Cyborg.
Yeah.
Look at the heavyweights, the middleweights. If your body isn't built like that, you gotta go do that. Because now you're gonna be able to see how they're using their body. And then if you don't fully understand, come see me. Because now I'm like, okay, this is what he's doing. This is why he's doing it. That's what you do. I don't shy away from them going on YouTube and searching, man. That lets me know that they're inspired.
Right.
They're excited. They're eager to learn.
Yeah.
My job is when they come to me to know the answer.
One of the things that I saw, it was actually last night. I was on Instagram, scrolling through some videos buddy sent me. I think it was Military BJJ, one of those sites. And it was a combatives tournament where a kid was doing a buggy choke and he snapped his own knee. And so I was just like, I'm 44 years old with a lot of mileage. I ain't pulling on I'm not pulling on my knee in that way. There's I was just thinking about that when you said it says out there learning or whatnot, but there's definitely a lot of warning videos too. Like you better have the right attributes to be able to do some of these things.
And that's what I tell them. I'm like, if you guys want to try that, you can try it, but man, just make sure you let me know what you're trying. And then I'll be like, walk me through it, show me what you're doing. All right, nope, that's not what that is. This is where that goes. And I correct it. But yeah, man, being 40, I'm 44 too, bro. Jumping out of airplanes and all that crazy stuff, bro. I've had 6 knee surgeries on my right, 5 on my left.
Oh my goodness.
11 knee surgeries total. This left shoulder got 6 anchors. I got a cable and a rod, bro.
Yeah.
But it's again.
But the fundamentals let you continue to train.
Because why? Now I'm limited with this one.
Yeah.
This one I can't do a certain grip with.
Right.
So I go back to what I know works that doesn't require me to have to use this as much.
Yeah.
Let me get into a position to where there's not going to be that much stress on the knee or two.
So unintentionally, I think we got into a conversation about, we've been talking about youth and kids and stuff like that, right? But what about older grapplers or somebody that's just getting started? I make a joke when I'm talking to my buddies, like, Jerry from accounting that's never trained any martial arts.
It goes back to having a place that anybody can go to.
Right.
So what I mean? It's what type of establishment did I want? Did I want to be able to bring any and everybody in that wanted to train jiu-jitsu? Yes. Like I said, when you asked me about affiliates, I said I looked for an affiliate that was more around my values.
Friendly environment.
I want a friendly environment that any and everybody can walk into. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. But I'm not looking for a certain demographic. Why? This is my business. I get to choose who I bring into that business.
So not only are are you a right fit for them? But are they a right fit for
me? Yep.
For you?
And
that's good.
So that 63, that 65-year-old person, guess what? When they walk into that establishment, from the time they walk in that door, they already feel like, okay, this is a place for me. Because it's set up that way. It's set up from the time you walk in the Dreadnought doors. It's set up for you to feel like, oh, okay, I'm at home.
Yeah.
Not in a way that's like, all right, I'm not here for this. I'm here just to chill.
Yeah.
I ain't here to have a monkey on my back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to just learn. But if I want to turn up, I can turn up. And that's what that establishment is like. So if I got a 63-year-old man that's there right now.
Yeah.
The oldest lady I had that was there, she was 70 something. She was a pro racquetball player. There's other, older people there, man. It's what your body allows you to do. I don't make you or force you to do anything. You're paying me to give you a service. You're not paying me to torture you. I'll do that though. Just let me know.
Is that a different payment plan?
That's a different payment. So I'm really like, you're paying me for the experience, what I have to offer you, and that's it. When you come in there, unless you say, hey, I want you to be on my ass every day. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive. Within those limitations.
Correct, yeah.
So it doesn't matter the age, man. It's just, what are you looking for?
Right.
What are you looking for when you come to that establishment?
Some people might just want to burn calories, right?
Then come do it.
Yeah. You
don't want to compete? You ain't got to compete. You want to just roll and be in a good environment and hang out with people? Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
That's it, man. It's a family establishment, put it that way. It's what you would want to walk into and be like, okay, got it. No disrespect to nobody. Everybody has their own flavors, but I don't have guys walking around with no shirts on. I don't have, guys in, tight Valetudo shorts walking around, like that. I don't have ladies in there that's inappropriate, dress. Everybody's respectful, it's uniformed, and it's uniformed for a reason. Some people don't like that, but it's uniform because I want everybody to be uniformed. I want you all to look the same. I don't want it to be, well, that guy got his shirt off, take my shirt off. That guy got on Valetudo shorts. That girl got on see-through spandex. I don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah.
This is my establishment.
And just to talk about, have you been to the location over there of Cash? It's probably one of the nicest jiu-jitsu academies I've seen, not just in the area, but on my travels, with the military doing things or whatnot, and jumping into different gyms. So you walk in, first thing you notice is how clean it is, right? And you're not even on the mats yet. It's a large reception area. You can probably fit about 50 people in there, just in the reception area alone. Then you go past the reception area to where the training area is. I think there's a locker room to the left, right? And then there's like a cage set up for like MMA if they're doing that or whatever. And then you get to the jiu-jitsu match, which, just kind of looking at it, what do you have, about 3,000 square feet, more or less, of training area? So you can get a lot of people in there and do a bunch of different things at the same time. And it's uniform. I think it's zebra mats that you have set up. So everything, it is a professional establishment, right? You walk in there and it's just the perception when you go in is like, oh. I told Virgil this a while back when I used to take my daughter's training boxing in North Carolina back in the day, right? It was on top of a appliance repair shop, right? And so like the decking, it was straight decking. Like you could still see the screws where they screwed the decking into that. Yeah. Great, awesome, hardcore gym. My kids never wanted to go back without me, but it's like the inverse of that. It's just like you go in there, you feel safe that you can drop your kids off. And you can.
I'll tell you how it's set up. I have 360-degree cameras outside. When you come inside, like you said, there's a big reception area. The AC's blasting. Yeah. The big screen's on, and on that big screen, you see all the mats, and you see the parking area where everybody parks. So the parents right there get a peace of mind right off from the jump when they step in the door. On the other TV, we got Netflix or something on for the kids. So right there, all the parents, the kids, whoever there get to sit in that lobby and they get to watch that screen. That's like a 64-inch or 70-something inch TV and watch their kids on the mats without having to interact with their kid. That's good for me. Because now I don't have kids looking over at mom and dad when another kid is about to hip toss them. That's bad. I get it. You want to see your kid. Yeah. But it also is a distraction for your kid. Because now little Johnny or little Becky is looking over and now you're getting blast doubled. And guess what you didn't do? Put your chin in your chest and the back of your head just got clipped.
Yeah. Kids get a lot softer too when mom and dad's around at a young age too. Their asthma seems to act up every break. You know what I mean?
Well, there's that, and when they're looking over, they're also looking for validation. Right?
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Does dad approve that I'm getting beat up? Right
but I get to use that. I get to use that too. And so, like you said, they come in and that's all there. So right there, that parent, that student, whoever sees, I don't have to be back there. I can watch them. But on the flip side, I get to go over to the kids and be like, your mom or dad's up in the lobby watching y'all act like this. They can see you.
Yeah.
And then they get back in line. So it's twofold.
You got Big Brother. Skynet watching.
Yeah. And so I get it. The parents do want to see their kids. And I used to be like, no, I used to have it blocked off so you can see nothing. I tell parents they can leave. This is how it feels in this place. We have parents that come in and drop off their 4-year-old kids and they leave. And they don't come back for like another hour or two and pick their kids up. This is everything because that's how safe it is. We keep the doors locked. We keep the cameras on. And like I said, it's a family environment. So when you walk in, I can. Hey, get out of here! I'm about to leave. That's how you feel. You feel like you're walking into your own home or a family's home, somebody you know's home, and you're able to feel comfortable enough to where the people in that establishment, 98 of my coaches are all prior military, all of them, and they all got kids except for one. So right there, none of my coaches, you can't coach if you ain't got kids. So you don't know how to deal with kids.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna let you get on the mat and you ain't got kids. Man, no. No. You gotta have kids to work with kids. Just do. And they're all military. So we know what structure looks like. We know what good discipline is, man. We ain't in there making them kids do crazy stuff. We're actually teaching them. I don't have to talk. The parents will do that for me. They'll do that. The community's doing that. I'm at Cameron. I'm not from here. I'm from Texas, man. Born and raised. I'm only here because the military brought me here.
Yeah.
But I brought what the military gave me and kept it here in Lawton. I wasn't trying to take it nowhere else. I wanted it for here. I've had conversations with people. Hey, man, I want to build something for here. Forget everybody else. What are we building for here? You know what I mean? I didn't come here and if I figured I was going to retire and what am I doing for the community that I'm in?
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I reached out to people. Let's do something for this community.
So on top of Cameron University having a program there, what other community outreach things do you have going with your?
Well, now I just recently got contacted by Cash ISD. So now we have a program that's starting out at Cash Middle School and the high school starting this next semester or the next school year. Yeah. So I'll be out there running a program with those kids, doing the same thing, man. Because I'm also a CrossFit instructor. I'm not just a Jiu-Jitsu guy. Right. I'm a CrossFit instructor. I got my CrossFit certification. I'm a RAD instructor. If you don't know what RAD is, it's rape, aggression, defense. That's all I did, So the military paid for all that, bro.
Yeah.
The military paid for my CrossFit instructor certification. They paid for my RAD, my rape, aggression, defense instructor certification. They paved the way for my jiu-jitsu and what I'm doing now. All the connects that I got with Zebra and all that all came from the military. Yeah. I know those guys up at Zebra Mats because I've been working with them because I had to order all the gear for Alaska. And so like I said, I wanted to make sure that all the tools that the military gave me, wherever I ended up retiring and I rested my head, I was going to give it all back. Give it all back to wherever I was at, and that's what I've been doing, man. Really focusing with the kids, and nothing against adults, man. You guys are already established. The kids are the ones that we got to try and navigate this BS that's going on. And if we can give them some of the best tools to give them the strongest minds, why not? Most of the times, man, they feel like they're not worth nothing. They don't feel like they can do things. Man, some of these kids get on a jiu-jitsu mat that ain't never been an athletic kid in their life. But once they figure out what they can do with their bodies, man, come on. I've seen kids go from making F's to an A/B honor roll. Just from walking in the doors, just from the parent seeing a post or hearing another parent say something, bringing their kid into the academy, and within the end of the school year, that kid's now an A/B student. That's facts. That's a parent that came up and told me, hey, my son is now doing this because of you guys. And they, not calling any names, they cry, they enjoy it, and that's why I do it. And man, it's not, I'm retired. People think like Dreadnought is making my money for me. I'm a retired service member, bro. Dreadnought is not, what people think is like, oh, it's the biggest money thing. No, man. Yeah. I don't do it for that. It's not. I don't. I charge people to keep the doors open. Right. I charge people so they can come in and use the internet. I charge people so their kids can see Netflix. I charge people so they can have the luxury of sitting in a nice, cool AC building when it's 100 or something degrees outside while they can watch their kids do jujitsu on a big screen TV. I charge them so we can have Christmas parties where they ain't got to pay to come and do that. So they're paying for that experience, and that experience is us putting that money back into them. Right. And it's an investment into those kids. And so with doing that, this town and city has seen, hey, we see what you're doing for these kids. Can you bring that here? So I reached out to Cameron one day. I was like, hey, can we start this program? And this is why. I ain't looking at fighting. You guys got a nursing program. You guys got security guards. You guys got law classes where you
like criminal justice.
Yeah, you do criminal justice. All those people are in vulnerable situations to where if somebody comes in at the hospital and they're hopped up on drugs, can you control them? What about a law enforcement officer? Hey, I love the fact that these guys are getting out doing jiu-jitsu. I don't care where they go and get it. Just go get some good training. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Because why? You don't know what your traffic stop's going to be. You don't know who they're going to bring into the ER. You don't know what's going to happen at a school with a kid.
Yeah, it's chaotic.
Yeah, and so it wasn't just for the Cameron students. It was also to have a gateway for them to be able to then expand it and then offer it to the rest of the faculty. Same thing that was happening at Cameron, then they saw over in Cash. Cash has been screaming for people to come over there and do something with those kids. It's just me. I don't have 2 or 3 of me, but hey, we are able to do this. Yeah, I'll do that. I got time. I can come over and swing that. And so now I'll be over at Cash, middle school and high school, doing a power up program, because it's not jujitsu, it's a power up program. Basically what it is, I'm gonna empower you to do what you need to do at school so you can focus and get things done. And one of the things I want to make sure that people understand about that is, man, I'm not looking for that athletic kid. That athletic kid don't need help. He already athletic. He don't need help. Yeah. Just got he's athlete. Yeah, he's athlete already. All he gotta do is show up. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You know what he's doing. He's coachable. Yeah, yeah. Right. I don't want that kid. I'm not saying I don't want that kid, but that kid's already on his way. Now he can come. They can come and talk to me and ask, and hey, I'll do whatever I can for you. But I'm looking for that kid that's shying away and they're not sure about what to do next. I don't want the kid that's already driven. I want the kids that are struggling. Hey, I don't know what I should do next. I'm having a problem with communicating. I'm having a problem with socializing. It is more than just jujitsu. I tell that shit to all my students. Quit thinking it's about jujitsu. It's about how can I make you better. Yeah. all around, 360, not just on the mats, but in life. That's what I'm bringing to the kids, man. That's what I give to my kids in class, besides just jiu-jitsu, and that's what I'm trying to force into the schools. Because I've seen it with just a little time that I get with them on the mats.
Okay.
But now I'm able to, hey, here's healthy eating. Here's good exercising. Hey, here's how you defend yourself. Guess what that kid gets to do now? He gets to walk, or she gets to walk with their head up, and they walk a little bit different.
Yeah.
They feel like, hey, I'm a part of something. So when they go to class, they got to also not only keep themselves accountable, they got to make sure when they come back and see me the next time, hey, how you doing? Now they got to address their issues with me as well, and so.
It's like an accountability program.
And it's something different that you're not going to get in the classroom when the teacher is just sitting there trying to get you to read a passage or do math or do this. We get to disengage from the learning part. And now we get to really engage in life skills.
What I'm hearing, when I hear you say these things, it's almost like as much as it's helping, the community, your students, the kids that you interact with these school programs or whatnot, it's also for you because one of the things as far as being military, and then I can only speak as an enlisted person, as a non-commissioned officer, NCO, right? Which I think the three of us have all been in those shoes, in those boots, right? Is that we miss the developing of a team and counseling to provide purpose, direction, and motivation. And if you're not, around that, then you're going to try to seek that. I found that working with the Elgin Wrestling program, right? Being a part of that, being able to work with Cody Rowan and Coach Baker and the staff over there, and it's filled that, like I would say, void, right?
It does.
Yeah,
it does. It's as NCOs, senior NCOs, what is our creed? We're the backbone. We're the backbone. So we feel like we're able to carry that load, because while we know how, the military gave us so many tools to deal with stress, get away from family, all this stuff, to where it's like somebody will look at you like, man, you're cold. I'm like, no, man, I'm not cold. I've just been through shit to where I know that's not the biggest thing in the world.
It's not worth getting worked up over.
It's not worth, man. It's not worth me wasting my energy over. I'm like, I've been blown up multiple times. I've been in the shit.
I get it.
You think this over here in Lawton or Oklahoma is really going to stress me to where, man, no. We've lost too many friends over there, bro. See what I mean? So for me to come back home, and like I said, man, a lot of that, this stuff doesn't stress me out. My wife asks me that all the time. She's like, how can you stay so cool? Ain't nobody fucking shooting at me. I ain't getting blown up. I'm home. I should be able to relax. See what I mean?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be tensed up like I was over there. Into that mindset of like, yeah, I'm already dead, man. So forget everybody and whatever happens. You got that 1,000, that death stare, that 1,000-yard stare. And you're like, what's wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
It's not that anymore. That's what I used to be like. Man, my family didn't even want me around. That's because that's how bad it was. And so you gotta you flip it. And like you said, now it's to where if I don't do something, man, I'm just gonna go crazy staring at the wall.
Yeah.
What am I good at? Teaching. How do I know I'm good at it? Because the Army taught me.
You got officer NCOERs, reviews that show that you've been successful.
The black and white don't lie.
Black and white, yeah.
And not only was I very successful in the military, I'm doing it now, on the outside, using those same skills, that same mindset, and that same team and work ethic to get it accomplished. And that's it, man. It's not about me. I've at a certain point, you get put on the shelf when we talk about continuity. Okay, before you go, what did you leave?
Standard SOP.
Did you leave it all in your head and you passed away and it's gone? It died with you.
Set the next guy up for success. Yeah.
Exactly. Why Why keep something, man? What did you learn on this earth? Are you just going to keep all those secrets? What is your purpose here?
Right.
You know, and so if somebody's going to take the time to teach you something and you're going to have the abilities to learn something, why are you not sharing it? Because then when you share it and that other person goes and take what you showed them and they're successful with it, man, that's your success is my success. I can talk about you now. Robert, man, he's out there doing the damn thing. I remember when he came and asked me this and I shared some information with him and now he's out there doing
it, yeah.
That's what I'm talking. That's it. That's the key. That's the answer. So when I see these kids that come in and they're beat up and they don't know what to do and I share myself with them, I'm like, hey man, this is what you should do. I talk to the parents. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna help you out. Let me know what they need. Let me know what's going on. Because this is what kids will do. They'll tell me everything that they won't tell you. But you know what I'll do? I'll clean it up and I'll come tell you.
Yeah.
And then you're able to deal with the situation in a more professional way with your kid because now your kid, you know what your kid really thinks. And now you're able to hear it from another adult in a way that you know that adult's on your team and not against you.
So you're wearing a lot of hats running a school, right? You're a coach,
got to.
mentor,
Got to.
Teacher, instructor, you know, whatever.
Even to the adults, man. I say stuff to the adults in the same manner. You know, I have so many adults after class come over to me and be like, thank you, I needed that today. I needed that talk.
Right.
Because sometimes I'll just stop class and we'll just talk just like this. And not philosophy, but we'll just talk. And be like, at some point, you got to stop worrying about what's on other people's plate and look what's on your plate and focus on just that. If somebody's out there doing crazy stuff that don't affect you, why are you worried about it? Or they're in your house doing crazy stuff?
Right.
Or are they with you doing crazy stuff? If that person's over there doing something ridiculous, why are you focused on that? You're taking yourself out of your own element and putting yourself in their element, and it's fucking up your energy.
Do you ever find yourself amazed how people take things personal as civilians? It's so black and white to you, like you were saying earlier, not getting, all hopped up over situations because you've seen a lot of stuff, but just trying to help somebody out, like, look, but them taking it personal instead of accepting the information.
Yes. Yeah, because, I think I went from high school to college football, from college football to the military. So I didn't have a lot of that civilian interaction.
Right.
So it came in and it was straight, hey, this business is business. If First Sergeant or Disc Commander say this, hey, that's what it is. He ain't mixing his words. He ain't putting no fluff on the back end.
Yeah.
What he said is what he said. Some people don't see it that way. Some people look at words and words do have a lot of meaning. But what I tell people when I talk to them, even some of my coaches and the adults when I talk to them, listen to my words. Don't deviate from them. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I mean and exactly what I say. But still, they don't have that military mindset, and they're looking at, and there's nothing against them. They're looking at other options. I'm just looking at the direct. What's the issue? I'm not looking at the side view. I'm straight down the line. That's me. And so I'm gonna be very blunt, which I found out is not very nice and politically correct, but that's the only way. Just, hey, sir, I need to drop that fucking bomb over there.
Right.
Now, I'm giving you everything that is going on in here. Here it is, all in one shot. I'm not deviating left or right. I'm not making because why? In my line of work, I get out of those parameters, somebody's dead. All right. So I get out of those parameters with some information that I probably shouldn't have said because I'm trying to go left or right with it. No, I'm gonna tell you straight how I feel. That's it. This is how I see it. This is my thought process. Even when I teach techniques, I tell my guys, this techniques is from my view how I teach it. Somebody might go and they'll show the same thing, but it's going to be from their aspect and because my verbiage is going to be different from theirs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I might say something to a parent or a kid or an adult, and that the parent might not like it. And I got to come back and think about the politically correct way to say it. But I don't think it's nothing like, I get the fuck out of here, dumbass. No, I don't do that. It's more of, It's straightforward.
You're just changing your approach.
Yeah.
Right? Just using a different approach. No, that makes sense. And it makes sense because we're coming from a different area, and it's not their responsibility to understand that. Is what these are things that I'm learning as I go through the process of getting out.
Thatness, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that it's different for everybody else than me. And this is what I mean by that. Before I retired and before all that shit, all this, I don't have to worry about stuff. My kids are grown. I got one 16-year-old at the house. She's independent. You know what I mean? So my wife doesn't have to get up and need the car to go to work. I don't have to get up and need the car and go to work. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about taking my kids to daycare. I don't have to worry about picking them up from school. My daughter's homeschooled. She's with us all the time. So I understand that there's a whole lot of things that's going on in other people's lives. I don't get on people if they show up late. You show up late, man. You got kids. You got house payments. You got kids. You got to get them situated.
There's enough stressors, right?
Yeah, you get enough stressors. I had a guy come in, didn't want to get on the mat. He's like, "I'm being disrespectful." I'm like, "No, now you're being disrespectful because you're just sitting there. You showed up, but you're sitting on the bench." It's like, "Well, some schools don't let you get on the mat if you're late." I'm like, "F them schools. That's a dumbass statement. That's a dumb statement. Some time is better than no time." See what I mean?
Yeah.
So you showed up late, but you're sitting on the bench. To me, that's disrespectful. You can show up late because some time is better than no time. I'd rather if you came in 15 minutes late, that's all right. Come on, man. Some time is better than none. You probably have some shit to do. Man, you probably had a bad day and you just got out of that bad situation. And you were sitting in the parking lot contemplating if you should come in the gym or not.
Yeah.
And if I'm that type of person, it's like, you show up late, don't come in here. But you might need the mats that day. Motherfucker, why not let you in? I'm not doing my job at that point. I'm just
compounding on
exactly,
that.
man.
Just adding
I'm just there taking a check, man. That's not what you do to people. They paying you for that service. I don't care if you came in at the last minute. Wow. You pay for that. You come in when you come in.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you what you can and can't do. Because now what? Now you go. And why did you come in late? Were you having some issues with your wife, kids, work? All right, man, you came in late. Hey, after class, let's talk about it. Now, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I told him that, man. Come in. Oh, man, other gyms, they don't let you. Fuck them. Challenge me on that. You're doing it wrong again. Get to the mat, bow in, respect the mat, step on the mats, let's go.
Right.
It's the same thing. When you come up late for formation, you not gonna show up that day?
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna go ahead and just clock out.
That's what happens then.
Yeah.
Hey, you was late, but you still could have came to work.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
That don't make no sense. So that's nah. I don't do that. Some people are gonna feel how they feel, and that's fine. Because getting back to that question, my wife said something on her page. Says that I can inspire a whole lot of people, but I'm also gonna make a lot of people mad. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Are they the only people in the world? No. If that person, they might not. That vibe might not be the vibe they wanted. They might wanted a different type of vibe, and that's fine. We have establishments in this town now that if my vibe ain't your vibe, I don't care if you go next door. I don't care if you go do Taekwondo. I don't care if you go do MMA. I don't care if you go to the other guys across the street. I don't care. You're doing something.
Right.
Right? You're doing something. And your vibe might not be what I wanted. So I would be like, nah, we don't have any space. Or nah, I don't teach that. Those guys over there teach that though. There's nothing wrong with that. Because you let the wrong people in, then what? Now your whole foundation is crumbling.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to say to that too. I mean, like, sometimes it is better just to go and get rid of people like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not even, it's not even like, if you look at it and like the use youth situation, it's not even the kid, it's their parents, that could be the problem.
I've had that. I've had where I've worked with a kid and the kid is right where they should be. And then the kid is drawing swastikas. But the kid, it's a great kid. And I'm like, hey man, we get my dad. Dang. Or he's watching porn. Hey man, you're like 12 years old. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, it was on my dad's computer. What the? Hey man, that's not good. Don't do that. That's not good. And I get it. These kids got access now, man. They got these phones, and it is hard to tell a parent that got to work all the time. Hey, can you put some restrictions? You can't tell another parent what to do with their kid, but when they inside my building, I tell the parents, hey, that kid's mine now. Once you bring him in here, he's mine or she's mine. And I'm gonna be very respectful and help them in any way I can. And I'm gonna come back and let you know if I see some stuff that I just can't, and so that's why I say it's gotta be that way, in that family environment way. Cause now you're always in that mindset. Right. So you're able to deal with it. You don't want to be in that mindset to where, oh, that's cool, man. You be all right. No, that ain't okay. Yeah. Put them on the right track. And so sometimes, it is the parents, man. And it sucks because now that kid's no longer there because the parent didn't like the situation, or you had to address it with the parents and they feel embarrassed. Man, don't feel embarrassed. Work with us. Let me help you. It ain't my kid. But shit, I get it. I was a dad too. And if you got outside people that really care about taking care of kids and taking care of this community, shit, let us help the kid. Don't get mad because the kid probably told said some shit. I ain't reported you because at this point, I'm just now getting privy to it and I need to try and help you fix it. Right. All right. And if I can't help you fix it or it's worse than it is, hey, I got police officers that work there, sheriffs that train up there. I got lawyers that work up there. I got social workers that work up there. There's been plenty of times where I went and reached out to all of those people and say, I got a problem. Yeah. How do I address it? Hey, this kid came and said this. How do I address it? Because I ain't got all the answers, but I got the resources and the people around me to make sure I can get the answer. Right. But if the parents don't ever, allow us to do that, man, that's going to be the hard part. And so then we lose an opportunity to help a kid and that family. Period. Like I had a little girl, she ain't little, she was like 13, had a breakdown. And she screaming about my parents making me go to counseling. And I got to do A, B, and C. I'm like, okay, sweetheart, slow down a little bit. You seem like your anxiety's up. I said, counseling's nothing wrong with that. I said, I've been to counseling. So when these kids say things, man, I share my experiences too. I don't get into detail. I'm like, I've been to counseling. There's nothing wrong with counseling. Look at me. Do I seem like there's something wrong with me because I went to counseling? Do I seem weird? No. It's just something that your parents might not know how to answer that question. They don't know how to do it. There's no manual on how to be a parent. We didn't get no handbook like they did in school and say, hey, this is how you be a parent. Yeah. When you where's that at? Where they sell that at? Where we signing up for that? Right. It's not. So you got to use the sources that you have around you. So that's one of the most difficult ones right there, man, is when you get kids that are problematic, but they're not problematic. It's something going on that's either at home or there's not a dad. Yeah. Or there's not a mom, because we got kids that mom's not there and they live with grandma, And for instance, I got one young man that was one of my students' bully. He was the bully of one of my president's students. He walked in and the kid ran over to me and was like, hey, professor, that's my bully. Me jokingly was like, good, let's go kick his ass. I'm like, to get him from being scared. I'm like, hey, it light. Yeah. I'm like, hey man, you're here with me now. Let's go get him. Yeah. But that wasn't what it was. I'm like, he is now in your domain. So this is what you do. He signed up. He pulled the kid to the side. They start working together. He helped him out. Your kid was kind of standoffish at first, or trying to be, that machismo. Mm-hmm. That's the kid I was telling you about that was making F's. Now that kid's an AB student.
Right.
He was the bully. He was the bully and was making bad grades. Come to find out, that wasn't around. There was no mentorship for him. You know, and mom came in, just, he needs help. Me not knowing that was another kid of mine's bully, and not knowing what his grades was like. I didn't find out about dad not being there until after the fact. Because I don't really ask those questions. I'm like, is dad at home? Like, yeah. No, that's weirdo shit. I don't do that. Yeah. You just tell me what the kid needs help with. Right. That's it. And I do the rest. Because now all right, let me talk to the kid. Hey man, what's going on? How you been? What's going on? And that's what I did with him. Man, every time this kid sees me, he comes up, shakes my hands, and hugs me. You were the bully. And now he's the AB student that's helping now the other kids that come in. You know, and he's not using it in that aspect because he sees now that's not what it's about. So this kid who was a bully, who's learning jujitsu and learning how to control himself. See how we getting back to the control? Yeah. And how to control himself. Now this kid is now he's the AB student going around helping the other kids. And what do you think is going to happen when he does see another bully try and bully a kid? He's going to go stand up for that kid. Hands down. Hands down. And so that's a good parent story. Then you got some that's like, well, I just want my kid to be an athlete. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Well, I don't like the way you're doing that. I'm like, okay, well, your kid's already an athlete. He's already there. I'm not going to pay my attention to him when that kid over there is not athletic. And that kid needs the most attention. All I need to do is show him. Yeah. And he can go drill. Let me go work with this one over here that is not athletic. And they're trying to make it. That's the problem we have. Everybody thinks, well, he's a stud. I'm going to go work with him. He don't need your help. Why? He was a stud when he walked in here. Yeah.
He was already developed, right? Yeah.
You call yourself a coach? He's already coachable. If you got a kid that's he's on his game, girl or male, and you see, oh, that's an athletic kid. Yep. That kid, you ain't got to do much. To show a kid an example, do it. All right, go do it. Critique him a little bit. What about the one that gets their legs crossed up, gets confused with left and right? Yeah. Go be a coach. That's coaching. I know you might hear some people, oh, that's bullshit. No, that's coaching, bro. An athlete is going to be an athlete through and through. You ain't got to do much with that kid. You ain't got to tell him to go run. He going to do it. Yeah. You ain't got to tell him to go lift. He going to do it. You ain't got to tell him to watch film. He going to watch film. That one, though, he's got to be coached to do that.
Do you have a belt system? Mm-hmm. That how do you work that? What criteria you look for each level?
Just show up. And progress. If you wanna excel faster, I tell all my students, you want to excel faster? Compete. And this is why I tell them to compete. When you are constantly training with the same person every day, you learn their habits. You learn what they're going to do next. You know what they're going to do. You really want to test your skills and where you are, go compete against somebody you don't know. Same size, same belt level, but go compete against somebody you don't know. Because then what that's going to do is show you the difference on what their skill set is, what your skill set is, their intensity and your intensity. Because I'm going to tell you now, rolling against one of your buddies that you've been training with for 6 months to a year, you ain't trying to arm bar the shit out of them. You ain't going to try and rear naked choke them till they turn purple. You ain't. You're going to have a playful role, and you might have an accident or two, but you ain't in there trying to murder that dude or that girl like that. You ain't trying to take it to him. You ain't going 120. Right. And I hear that all the time with the kids. Hey, why you not going hard on him? Oh, that's my friend. I don't want to hurt him. Mm-hmm. But at tournaments, they don't give two shits about the other person. They go in there and they just run them over. I'm like, hey, why don't you do that in class? Oh, I don't know them. That's not my friend.
Yeah, that's a fundamental you see a lot in wrestling too. They're kind of like gym rangers, right? Yep. So they're the best guy in the gym, but also they know how to beat everybody in the gym. So they're not really developing. You know what I mean? So when you put them in a live match, they get under the lights.
It's different. So you can progress faster by testing yourself in those ways. Everybody can still progress as well because somebody brand new coming in, going against somebody that's been there 6 months to a year. So we still have people to gauge off of. So if this person's been here for 2 years and this person has no training at all, now I can see this person's progression.
Okay.
When they go against a person that's been there for 2 years. If you come in at the same time, you guys are going to progress the same. So what are you doing? You're adapting and learning each other's habits, each other's moves. This person that was here for a year, you know nothing about him or her. So when you roll with that person 6 months down the road, yeah, you might know something, but you don't know as much as this one. So he's going to, or she's going to surprise the crap out of you compared to somebody you've been going to class with every day for six months at the same time frame. So that belt system works like that. The more time you have in it, the more you're going to progress in the belts. The more you understand it and you're able to pick it up, the faster you're going to progress. Because some people picks it up faster than others. Mm-hmm. Who cares? It's your own journey. The kids are different. The kids program is totally different from the adults. The kids are on a graduated scale because they have so many belts. So all they got to do is just show up, because the more they show up, they're gradually going to get better, period. You're going to have some kids that will learn faster than others. Okay, that's great. That happens in school. Y'all don't get mad about that. See what I mean? There's only when, and I hate to say this, there's only when it comes to where it's like an extracurricular activity that just because you participate, you think you got to get something. No.
Yeah, man, the world.
No.
The world today.
Yeah.
And this is jiu-jitsu. You can get it, but again, like you said, the mats don't lie.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's just like dudes coming in with a Ranger tab. You're like, hey, bro, when you go to Ranger school? Mm-hmm. Hey, this is a small community.
Yeah.
You put that tab on, guess what? We know people that know you. And if you didn't go through what you say you went through,
They can track it.
We know.
Right.
That's the same thing on the mats. You go and you put something on, you be like, hey, man, your skills don't match that belt. Or your belt don't match your skills. Because I was a white belt for 10 years. Just because of the military.
Yeah.
I was always deployed. Once September 11th, man, I was gone. Every come back, gone.
You see it on Fort Sill?
Yep.
Yeah.
3-4 months later, I was gone. You know,
the dingiest of white belts.
Go for a year, come back, PCS to another place. As soon as I get there, 4 or 5 months later, gone. Get there for another year, gone. Come back 6 months, hey, you PCS, gone again. Mm-hmm. You know, you do that for 5-6 years straight. You don't have time to progress in jiu-jitsu. You know, and so when it starts to slow down, it was like, you sandbagging, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, man, I can't promote myself. Plus, I was, you know, that's why I say we gypsies. Yeah. We don't get to stay in a stable place. So that's the only difference. Like, there's military guys, man, that are solid. They've been all types of gyms. But since we only in places for a couple of years and we're going, we don't get to progress like somebody that lives in that town their whole life. And they can stay at that one place for 10 years growing up.
Even for some of those guys, the only constant is the combatives program.
Yeah.
That they have access to for PT.
And just like I'm doing up here, there's black belts all around now, especially in the combatives community. So most of these black belts that end up on military bases and there's no schools around, hey, we start up combatives programs, or we go and find an empty building that we can commandeer.
Some busted up mats.
Yeah. And then that black belt starts training, you know, soldiers on that base. And then those soldiers get, you know, inspired, and then they start searching. And that's the only thing I'm doing here. Same thing with, you know, with Robert. And those guys, man. Because why? You have a bunch of guys that have been able to learn a skill, have a good positive background with the military. Nobody sees, except for like, it's people that don't understand the military being, you know, an axis of evil. But you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and so the military is respected, and people that come out of the military, as long as you're doing positive things, you're respected. And if they see more people are more prone to come to you when they know, hey, this person served this country, this person sacrificed themselves, this person's done this, and now they're giving back by doing A, B, and C. Some of the best businesses out there are run by military personnel.
Veterans.
and veterans. Just because of that I got to wake up at 4, go do PT, that work ethic they teach you. What they say, we do more in the first 3 hours in the military than everybody do all day. Why? We're up at 4, we're either running, jumping, training. Yeah. We're up already.
Right.
And so I still do that now. Like I said, 5 o'clock, I was at my place. 6 o'clock, I was at Fort Sill, and now I'm here. When I leave here, guess what? I got to leave here and burn all the way over to Cache to go sit down and talk and work and do a walkthrough of that area of the classes I'm going to be teaching this coming semester. So, yeah.
You're about to get Derek to re-enlist. He's talking all that.
I just got a couple more things, man. We've been going for about an hour and 45 minutes, but I just got a couple more things I want to talk about. What's your thoughts on the progression of no-gi?
I love it. As one of the best things that could have happened for jiu-jitsu. And this is why. When we talk about the kids, again, I'm always going to bring it back to the kids. What kids walking around here looking like Japanese ninjas or samurais? Ain't nobody walking around in kimonos. Ain't nobody wearing gis.
Right.
So I get what it is supposed to represent. And I know the jiu-jitsu community might be like, are you selling your soul? No, bro. Like the gi community felt like, you selling your soul.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. For kids, to be honest, man, that is the best thing you can start them out with. Because nobody's walking around with gis on. And here's the one thing I see that's the biggest issue with kids and gi. The collars are so thick and wide that their hands can't grip like they need to. So right now, there's no way they're learning these grips. They're pinching like clams. And so they're grabbing it like this when that's not good. They're not getting good grips because the collar on some of these gis are so thick. Plus, these kids aren't walking around middle school, elementary school, and high school wearing jiu-jitsu gis.
Yeah.
They're wearing leggings. They're wearing T-shirts. They're wearing hoodies. So that stuff slips off. It's not there to stay. And so when you look at bullying and all the stuff that's going on, hey, man, I'm going to teach you how to scrap with just what you wear in an everyday life. Shorts, T-shirt. Let's go. Because it's just wrestling with submissions. So all these kids that's wrestling, hey, just don't get on your back. Stay on top. And then when you get on top, let me show you how to do A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you're on your back, let me show you how to get off your back. Reverse that. Get on top and do A, B, and C. Or if you like being on your back, how to transition and work from there to still be able to do what you need to do. But, man, gi is still my favorite. I'm still going to rock gi. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to, if somebody's coming into my facility and they want to learn jiu-jitsu, I'm automatically putting them in no-gi first. Automatically. And the reason why is because I want you to be able to feel comfortable in your own skin and clothing before you go and you put some thick gi pants on, heavy cotton, heavy gi on, because I want you to be able to deal with any situation outside of my doors first. Because jiu-jitsu is self-defense first, man. It's not sport. A lot of people look at it, I'm going to do sport. That ain't sport first. It's self-defense first. That's why I say you got to learn that control. Learn to control, because when you out there and you do the wrong thing, yeah, you train, but if you accidentally kill somebody, even if you're trained or not, you still got to pay the piper for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be like, well, where was your control? Because you don't think them lawyers or whoever's going to ask you that question? That's one of the main things I worry about. With my background, with spec ops and everything, I can't go out there just beating up people. Unless you tempt me. And I got to. See what I mean?
You could.
It'd be a short career.
Yeah, you can't do that. And so that's why I really stress on that control part.
Hey, y'all remember Dreadnought on Cash? Oh, you mean the Jiffy Lube?
You're locked up now.
Yeah. And so no-gi, man, is great. I think starting with no-gi is key. I've had a lot of success with that in my program.
Okay.
and it shows, man.
You think that's why they're starting to bring like leg locks back now is because of no gi?
What, in gi?
No gi.
There's always been leg locks in no gi.
I just feel like it wasn't as popular. Like they kind of go away from it.
Well, and this is why. When you're in the gi, not a lot of people concentrate on the bottom half until you get up to brown belt. Even at purple belt, the only thing you're really able to do is like an ankle. And that's so easy to get out of, especially in the gi, that it really didn't, it wasn't as sexy because of the restrictions they put on the gi itself, with reaping and all that. They're talking about allowing a lot of these leg locks in gi, but it's a friction thing. Once the gi gets wet, it's like two wet rags and they're not coming apart. So for us upper belts, like black belts, we have more control. We understand that position better. Somebody that doesn't understand leg locks like they should get a leg entanglement and they go the wrong way, they just blew their leg out themselves. So as a white belt, you get introduced now to straight ankles. And off of that straight ankle is when you start to learn how to turn your toe and heel, how to get out. All right, it's just stage. Then at blue, you're still on ankles. All right. And then at purple, you hit knee bars, you can do calf slicers, you can do toe holds, but you can't do heel hooks. So then at brown, it starts to pick up. So each one of those are stages that introduce you to the legs. So once you get to the leg game, since there's not a lot of emphasis put on it, but now they're starting to be, that you know how to properly move.
That's actually smart by the people that run competitions.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to minimize injuries. Because if you got more people getting injured on legs, you got less people entering these competitions.
And that's the main thing is not a lot of people focus a lot on the legs because your main focus is the hands, the neck, and you're trying to prevent that from happening. The moment somebody reaches down and try and take a leg, you get your bag taken or it's a pass. So that's more of a high risk, low reward type of thing, depending on the belt at that time. A white belt, upper belts, yeah, that's gonna be more of a skill set that we're gonna be more successful at getting in because we understand how that puzzle works. Not knowing how that puzzle works, you blow your leg out as soon as you turn the wrong way. And so that's why they don't do it. In no-gi, it's a little bit easier because you're already sweaty, you're slippery, it's hard to maintain. The compression, polyester and nylon, it's like silk, so it's easy to slide out. So that less friction helps with you being able to escape in no-gi. So that's why it's more acceptable in no-gi because you don't have a lot of friction to slow that leg down.
Last thing is the name of your club. Not 100% sure on this, but what's the background on that name?
Dreadnought is, if you're a war buff.
Does it have anything to do with the old battleship?
Yep.
Okay.
This is exactly what it is.
Okay.
This is exactly what it has to do with it.
Okay.
Why? It was the only battleship back then that was indestructible.
Yeah.
The defense on it was solid. You can shoot whatever you want with it. Guess what happened? The way it was shaped, it's like that. So whatever you shot at it, it ricocheted off. So with that, we wanted to make sure, like defensive wise, what is your defense in your jiu-jitsu? Trying to have the best defense like that Dreadnought ship. It was unsinkable. During that time, it was one of those ships that's different. That's why if you look at the old logo, which is still up at the gym, you see all the armor plating on that octopus. Yeah. Right? That armor represented that Dreadnought ship. Okay. To have the best defense. You want to have the best defense possible. And then on top of that, the octopus represents the belts itself, the 8 belts.
I know a little bit about it because I almost did a report on it when I was in college, but I ended up getting out of it because I didn't feel like I could bullshit enough to make it. So I picked another topic that I could bullshit a lot about. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, you actually could have, because at that time with that ship, man, that was the only ship like that. And it actually shaped the war for the sea battle.
No, that's what I was about to say. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that because when that ship first came out, it stopped a lot of stuff too because a lot of people didn't want to fight because they didn't have that. So it was like they called it the Dreadnought. It was like the UK, and then like every ship after that was called. They was kind of coined the Dreadnoughts. Yeah. there's only one left right now, and it's like
Yep.
it's U.S. Texas, I think.
Sitting there
And
at
you
a
didn't
museum.
do a report on this?
He pulled back.
Yeah, you just like gave us a presentation on it.
No, but
TED Talk
it's really
over here.
it's really interesting though because I mean if you do the parallel between somebody that jiu-jitsu, somebody that can't control themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody knows this dude or person. You see a dude with cauliflower.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this dude has some kind of skill. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Test it if you want.
The
But
Dreadnought.
sometimes
That's pretty cool.
knowing how to defend yourself prevents a lot of stuff because you don't have to make that quick decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't have to attack first because you're calm, cool, and collected.
That's it, man. And that's where we got it from. And an octopus is very smart. He's able to get out of a lot of situations. He takes the time to learn his surroundings. And once he figures it out, he gets out. He escapes. So good defense leads to patience, being able to watch your surroundings and then figure out a plan to then get out and then deal with the situation. So it all ties into, you look at how smart an octopus is and what it does to get out of bad problems. And then you look at that ship with being able to withhold and withheld any type of situation because of its defense. It gives me enough time to then look and see, to then work my technique and get out.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Awesome. I think we ended on that, man. You got any shout outs you want to do?
Man, shout out to everybody in Lawton, Elgin, Cash, this area. Like I said, man, I'm here for the community. And so the shout out is to everybody that's in this area, man, that's trying to do better and trying to, do better things for the next generation coming up. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to leave something back that's bigger than me. Ain't got shit to do with me. It's about what we're leaving behind for our kids, our youth, our generation. That's it, man. What tools are we giving them? Period. Full stop.
Amen.